if we haven't met before, I'm Sam, the proud owner of Plant Collector Melbourne, and today's video, it is starting to look a little bit like Christmas. So for today's video, I am going to go through with you some plant gift ideas for all of those planty friends that you have, your planty loved ones, maybe you have a KK. If you're wondering what to get them, let me be your girl and do the work for you. Let's get into it. I'm hoping this video serves you and is quite helpful for you coming to the season of the holidays, and it's as if me and you went out for a little bit of a coffee and you're like, Sam, I have this person and I don't know what gift to get them, but they are a planty person. I got you, say less. I have done my research. I have looked into the World Wide Web of being like, what would I love to get my planty friends and family? And so the first one is Lego plant sets. If you are a planty person and you are on the internet, there is no doubt that you have seen this once, twice. If not, it actually comes a lot on my stories and on Instagram specifically, but they are incredibly cute. So I think that it is definitely a gift that could be on like the smaller side, that you're like, oh, I don't really know what to get my friends. They do come in like smaller, littler gifts, and also like, I guess, a bit more expensive, a little bit more fancy. And so when I take a look, let us grab my phone. And I feel like it should go without saying that I am getting no reimbursement for talking about any of these gifts. It's just that I personally think that any of my friends, or even me personally, would really enjoy these gifts. So here I'm specifically looking at the Lego Botanical collection, and it is super cute. I haven't properly dove deep until like doing research for this video, but there are actually some really cute gifts here. So the first ones that come up I can see is like a wreath, I can see a chrysanthemum, some flower bouquets. Maybe, look, plant people are most likely flower people. I'm not gonna lie. And I've just come to an appreciation for flowers. One that stood out for me was definitely the Lego Icons Tiny Plants, because you kind of get a little bit of everything in there. Like, I can see a little anthurium flower, I can see succulents, cacti, like all these cute little things. There is an orchid, which I feel like would be super popular. There's succulents. There is a gorgeous one of the birds of paradise. Interesting that it says like hard to find. Interesting. But as you can see, the pricing is a little bit more on the dearer side. But then you do have some on more like the $50 mark, which I'm guessing are quite like smaller. So this is definitely an option. If you're wanting to go like something that is sub 50, I do know that there are heaps of, not necessarily like Lego, but building block equivalents that have plants, and so you could totally go down that route too. So if you're doing like a little bit of a KK and you know that individual loves plants, it's probably not a bad idea. So the next one is what I thought is giving your friend or a planty individual some cuttings in like beautiful vessels. So I have this guy, and unfortunately he is not cuttings. He's definitely, actually some of them are cuttings. So this was done by a beautiful individual here at the store, and so some of them are cuttings and some of them are flowers. Some of these are cuttings, so they will stay alive, and some of them are just like flowers and just with petioles and no nodes. So I don't think all of it will stay alive, but definitely the melanochrysum and all the things with nodes on it. So I think something like this is so pretty. It's so easy to make, and I just think that people would really appreciate something like this. So I'll give you guys a closer look. Isn't she gorgeous? I wish I could take credit, but nay, I cannot. Something simple, going into your collection, looking at the plants at home, and just chopping them up and trying to make it look really cute. Here we've got a glass jar, which of course you can have lying around and use. You're also welcome to do a bit of shopping and find some really beautiful vessels or containers. I know that there's some that are more like scientific vials, if that's your thing. And let's be honest, when it comes to gift giving, you don't necessarily have to spend a ton to show people that you appreciate them and that you're thinking of them. And I think doing a cutting or things that you already have is definitely a good shout for any gift. Speaking of which, I do really love the idea of handmade gifts. So I'm definitely going more down the route of let's try and keep things manageable, because Christmas is a time where it is so easy to get crazy and you love so many people and you just want to give and give, but really it's not about necessarily the gift, and a lot of the time it is about the thought. So these ones are definitely more things that you can make that won't cost you an arm and a leg. And so one of them, even though I personally cannot do it, but just as a little sprinkle of an idea for you, is crocheting. So I have some individuals in my life that have been doing some crocheting, and I think it would be super cute if you made like plant coasters or plant socks. I can imagine having these like pot socks so that you can put your pot in it and it would look more like Christmassy, kind of like a stocking but for your pot. If an individual has a favorite leaf, you can try crocheting that specific leaf. When it comes to crocheting, I'm pretty sure the ideas are endless if you learn how to do it, of course. And there is definitely an art to it, and maybe, just maybe, I might start to learn how to do it if I have time. And still going down that path of handmade, you could absolutely make handmade ceramics. So if you're not really wanting to like buy a pot, you could totally make one. So I know that there's definitely arts and craft centers where you can kind of get like air drying clay. But with that being said, when it comes to clay, I do know that you have to fire it. So if you are wanting to try making ceramics for yourself or for some Planty individual, I would say that do your research, to go take a look at different ceramic places around you where they have a kiln and where they can fire. So whether you go there and grab clay that they already have and do it there, but I do know that they have like firing services. So if you're wanting to, I guess, create some beautiful little gifts, that is also another option. Oh, this is one of my favorites just because I got gifted this and it still gives me so much joy to this day. And it is this guy right here. And so if you have a Planty individual, getting them a plant pillow will never go astray, because it is just so, I don't know, comfort. It is comfort, it is cute. I love this Anthurium warocqueanum, and I got given it about like I'm gonna say 2 years ago, and I still incredibly love it. I wish I could take it home with me, but I think that it just suits PCMs, I guess. I think people also associate this pillow with B and the YouTube channel, so I think it's more fitting here. But there's definitely a part of me that wishes that I could take it home. Maybe just over Christmas. Maybe just over Christmas for myself. I believe you can get it on Etsy. I haven't really looked into it. I know that there are different qualities of the pillows, so some of them can look more realistic, some super cartoonish. I just say take a look, have a gaze, and see what is like your kind of fancy. If you're buying it for someone else, I guess a good way to do it is try to figure out their favorite plant and just go with that. So yeah, there's like this guy, which is a warocqueanum. There's like a Veitchii, Pink Princess, Gloriosum. I think the Gloriosum is gorgeous. So the warocqueanum is quite long, but I think that the Gloriosum, which I'm pretty sure like 3 of my friends have, and they love it because it's very much like round, and it would go really well in like a bed or a couch and like actually be laid on and used, whereas this one I think is more just like aesthetically pleasing. So yeah. There's another one. I would be doing a disservice to you guys if I didn't tell you about this, just because if I started to feel weird, but I know just from experience how rewarding this next gift is. And so if you have plenty friends, family, I wholeheartedly encourage you to take them on a workshop. So here at PCM, we of course do workshops. We do kokedama, we do preserved moss art. We are in the midst of making our new workshop for the Melbourne International Flower and Garden Show next year, which I'm just gonna say is Dama. If you know what it is, you know. If you don't worry about it. It'll come in time. But there is something so beautiful in doing an activity, learning, doing things with your hands, and having loved ones near you. It is definitely more of a community thing, it's a social thing, and at the end you will get memories, photos, a skill of learning how to do something, and overall it's a really gorgeous time. Every time we have workshops, I get all of the individuals that come in here at the front of PCM and we take a photo, and every time they have the biggest smile and they're so proud of their work. So I'll show you guys, 2 seconds. And so here is one of them. For those of you guys that don't know what a kokedama is, a Japanese moss ball. And I think that making something like this, learning how to do it, taking it home, caring for it, and you have the memories and skills, it's a no-brainer for me. I think it's one of the best gifts that you can give. And of course, time. So not only are you getting a gift, you're spending quality time with someone. So one of my highest recommendations is take a look in your area and just see if there's something Planty that your Planty loved ones would love to do with you. So this one's really fun because I actually got gifted this, I would say a couple of weeks ago, and I just wanted to tell people. So I got a gift from the beautiful Diane a couple of weeks ago, and she'd been telling me about it for a really long time. I am a huge board game nerd. I absolutely love board games, and she knew this, and so there was a board game that just got released quite recently. So it is a board game in which you are trying to be, or you are a botanist and you are trying to be the royal, prestigious botanist of the realm. So it's supposedly you go out on expeditions, you bring flowers back and different species. It sounds really, really fun. Not that I have played it, but I am so excited to play it. And it's just an idea that if your individual that you're thinking of kind of likes board games or wants something new, take a look. It doesn't have to be this specific board game, but a board game that is kind of Planty. I also have at home a deck, I believe it is a Planty game that I got several years back, and it's like a card game. So you could totally go down that route. It doesn't have to be something as strategic or big, it can be something small. Another one is a book. And so I actually have this book coming. I don't actually have it in my possession, but there is a specific book that I thought would be a really beautiful display book, whether that's on like a coffee table, on a, what do you call that, a shelf. And so you can totally get a plant book. I think that they look beautiful, they're aesthetic, and also it's a really good read for the person that you end up getting it for. And my personal, I guess, recommendation, if you're not really sure on what to get, is there's one that I would be getting for some of my Planty friends, and I'm hoping that they won't watch this, but they probably will, so surprise not surprise, is called Pressed Plants, Making a Herbarium by Linda Lipson and Derek Tan. And it just looks like a really aesthetic, beautiful book. I'm sure it'll be a very interesting read, and particularly for individuals that love herbariums, species, pressed flowers, pressed leaves, etc., etc. So that is one of the recommendations that I can give to you guys. There are so many other books as well. It doesn't have to be this one. But yeah, this is the specific one I'll be getting some of my friends. Going along the same line, you could absolutely get them a very beautiful notebook. And there has been some when I was doing researching of like pressed flowered notebooks. So maybe I can leave you guys some of the links down below to make it easier for you to find. But definitely notebooks, I feel like, don't ever really go astray, especially if you grab a really beautiful one. They can use it for, I don't know, taking notes, journaling, putting plant names and their kind of like routines, being like, oh, this plant is called this, it requires this kind of care and likes this environment, whatever. They can use it for anything, but it could also be a planty book. So I'll link and put on the screen one of them that I found, which I think is super pretty. Now, I have mentioned from the book and also the notebook is pressed flowers, and I think that we could even jump a little bit and do pressed leaves. So if you're wanting I guess another creative idea that you could do for your planty individual is that if you buy like if it's a small leaf or big frame, and then learning how to press it, there is a really beautiful technique that I saw a couple of people doing several years back, which is when you might have like a dead big leaf and you soak it in water, and over time it'll start to degrade, but you can actually see the skeleton, which I have tried once. It is a little bit more of a difficult process just because if the plant material hasn't been sitting in water for a long time, you have to be incredibly delicate when you're trying to take off like the leaf matter versus the skeleton. Luckily, the skeleton is a little bit tougher, but I definitely recommend soaking it for a very long period of time to make it easier for you. But I will put a photo of hopefully an example of what it could look like. And if done right, I think these are really stunning, particularly if you put it on like a black backing and you get to see the real exoskeleton of a leaf. Or you could just press it, which I feel like is a lot easier than doing the skeleton thing. I'm wondering if I can find a video that has like better instructions than what I give, and if that is the case, I'm going to link it down below. So that pretty much wraps up this week's video on all of the gift ideas that I thought for you, for your planty loving friends, family, and also for myself and my planty friends as well. So hopefully that it serves you well, that you didn't have to think too hard or too much in what gift you wish to give your loved ones this Christmas. If you guys have any planty ideas as well, feel free to leave it down below, because I am sure that I would really appreciate it, as well as the community, if you have any other suggestions. With Christmas around the corner, I hope you all have an incredible December. Make sure to enjoy yourself, and even though it's not Christmas yet, in I guess like a busy period of time, I hope you slow down. I hope you really enjoy your December. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!